Welcome back to A Little Bit of Cheese, your daily Wisconsin bite-sized sports podcast. I think that's how Cody says it. I'm not 100% sure. I did practice it at least once. No Cody today, just Sam. He's traveling. He's got a game to call tonight, so I'll be taking over. Just giving you a quick little rundown of the who's and what's going on in Wisconsin right now. I have been in mourning and in hiding and in mourning since the Bucs season ended. A real brutal end of the season. Dame's torn Achilles, seeing another player's father taunt Giannis as we lose in the first round to the Pacers once again. But we'll get there. We're going to start with the Brewers. Had a tough start to their month of May, losing 8-0 to the White Sox and then losing 10-0 to the Cubs the next day, followed by a 6-2 loss to the Cubs. We did save the weekend with a 4-0 win yesterday. Kind of reminded me, I played a little bit of golf yesterday, scrambled with a buddy. One of the worst days out of the tee box that I've ever had. I don't think we took a single one of my drives, but hole 16, 17, 18, I hit some awesome putts, and it made the day so much better for me. So Brewers might have lost the series, the battle of the I-94 to the Cubs, but we cleaned them yesterday, 4-0, shutout game. Great outing from 6 innings from Freddie. Koenig got one. Uribe threw scoreless inning, and then McGill came in and closed it out. I really love those 4 pitchers. Wishing Freddie the best. He did get pulled yesterday with a little bit of groin injury after 6 strong scoreless innings. And then, like I said, Koenig came in, Uribe came in, and McGill came in. That's my favorite 4 pitchers. Like, if we can draw up, your 4 guys right now to go win you a game, that was yesterday, and it was 9 scoreless. So that gives me a lot of hope. It almost saves the day, kind of like just having a good couple putts on hole 17 and 18 after a real tough start to the month. But things are looking up for the Brewers after that win yesterday. I got to touch on Christian Yelich here right now, man. He's hitting 207. That's not going to cut it. He's supposed to be a leader in this clubhouse, and more so than a leader in the clubhouse, he's got to be a leader on the field. Sorry for that pause. There's a massive spider right in front of me. He's got to be a leader on the field more so than just the clubhouse. Same with William Contreras, man. He's hitting 248, and that sounds better than 207, but that's not going to cut it for what are supposed to be your top dogs. We wanted Bryce Turang to break out. If Bryce Turang is your best hitter, you're not going very far. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. 315 is 315, and that's fantastic. But like Herb Brooks said, this Brewers team, you don't have enough talent to win on talent alone. We got to be better. This is why we fell in love with Murph last year, is because we were able to produce runs, and just score enough to stay alive when the pitching wasn't fantastic. We can feel confident in stealing 2-3 runs every single game to keep us in these games, to get runs on the board. And we're missing Willie right now. Willie Adames is having a pretty bad season right now, but the deep ball that he provided us we were able to get over the hump, get some runs on the board a little bit more at a consistent pace. And if Yelich is hitting 207, if Contreras is hitting 248, if Rhys Hoskins is your 3rd best batting average on your team, it's just not going to happen. It's these guys got to play better offensively. They got to start hitting the ball. I'm not sure if that starts with the hitting coach. I'm not sure if that's better plate discipline from everybody. I don't know what it is. These guys are vets. We're talking about Contreras and Yelich. They're the ones that you're supposed to be counting on, so I'm going to assume they're going to snap out of it. Long season to play. But, like Herb Brooks said, we don't have enough talent to win on talent alone. We are not the Dodgers. We are never going to have the roster of, especially in baseball, these monster teams. There's no salary cap. We're not going to have that roster. We have to play better. We have to play smarter. We have to take advantage of the times that we can take advantage of. You got to win the games against the Chicago White Sox, dude. That is a terrible team. I think they've been eliminating from the 2027 playoffs already. I could be wrong. It might have just been a stat that I made up. All right. I think that's enough Brewers for me. Well, let's open this Bucs box. I'm going to put my notes away and just ramble for a little bit. Look, Doc Rivers is terrible. He's got to go. He's the number one issue. He's the reason that we lost this series. I think he's the reason this season didn't go well. You have complementary players in Giannis and Dame, and we weren't able to figure it out. Yeah, a little bit of it is on the players. A lot of it is on Doc. He was hired because Griffin was fired mid-season, and he was the only veteran option on the market. And there's a reason he was on the market, because Doc doesn't have a recent history of playoff success. He really only had that one run with the Celtics, which saved a long career for him. And he was just available. We see these young coaches like Mark Dagnall and this, what Spo started doing in Miami. When you get these young, exciting minds, they change the game a little bit. They're more invested. They're more involved. They're more interested in what's going on. And Doc just isn't that. We got rid of Bud because he wasn't making adjustments. It's the same thing with Doc. There's not adjustments being made. They're being made too late. We knew that AJ Green was a stud shooter. We knew that Gary Trent can shoot the lights out at times. And we knew that Brook Lopez is a little bit slow. And we knew that Kuz is going to be a net negative on the floor. I think we all wanted to see more Jericho Sims minutes. And it took until Game 5 to actually see our best lineup get rolled out there. I think AJ Green played 12 minutes in Game 2. And then 23 minutes in Game 4. And then 43 minutes in Game 5. I like that we finally noticed that AJ Green's a stud and he's part of our best 5. I like that he's under contract for next year. It took too long to get there. Now, the collapse in Game 5 is heartbreaking. That was tough. And you want to see him win that game, and you want to see Doc recognize your best starting 5. But, it just wouldn't have taken a rocket scientist to tell you that, hey, Kuz is getting played off the floor, bench him. Jericho Sims is your only player with a net positive over the course of these playoffs. Play him. There's some matchups going on here that need to be taken advantage of, and that's what the Pacers took advantage of. They took advantage of our matchups. Whenever they saw Brook Lopez out there, they attacked him, and Doc didn't respond. He responded too late. It took him to Game 5, and that's why we collapsed at Game 5, because everybody had played 500 minutes and that game, and it was just tragic. So heading into next season, we got to get rid of Doc. The Dame injury is absolutely brutal. I think 2026 is going to be kind of a take-your-medicine type of season. There's a big doomsday going on for the Bucks right now. I really don't see it. We do have some. We don't have our first-round pick for a couple years. We do have some Pelicans swaps, and the Pelicans aren't going to be a great team, so we're going to have some top 20 first-round picks over the next couple years. And like I said a handful of times, if Giannis is suiting up for your team, you have a chance. Giannis is still playing. Dame missing next year is going to suck. Here's a reason that John Horst got his extension. He's good at what he does. He's always put quality players around Giannis. He's always been able to find quality veterans that can get us to where we need to be. I'm kind of excited to see what Giannis and Friends is going to look like next year. We talked a little bit about what that roster might look like, a little bit more specifically. I'm not a cap genius. There's a lot of small things going on between the first apron and the second apron, and what you're allowed to do with bird rights and player options and the money that you can spend if you're spending on bird rights. The people that know the cap situation are a lot more in tune than I. But I'll tell you the basics of it. Right now we have $28.2 million to spend next year, and the only guys that we have under contract for next year are Kuz, Giannis, Dame, AJ Green, Andre Jackson Jr., Chris Livingston, Tyler Smith. No Gary Trent, Kevin Porter Jr., and Pat Connaughton, I believe, are the players with Bobby. It's Porter, Bobby, and Pat have the player options. You're going to assume that Pat takes his player option. He's at $9.5 million, I believe, for next year. That's just not a number that he's going to get from anywhere else, so it would be smart for him to take that player option. Now, he could take a multi-year small deal to stick around. I could see him taking maybe 3 years at a vet minimum, but then that's kind of up to the Bucks. If we're just going to be taking our medicine for 2026 and really ramping up for 2027, then maybe we do let Pat make that last $9.5 million and see if he's worth a vet minimum after that. So with that $28.2 million to spend, we're going to have to spend some of it on Kevin Porter Jr. I think he earned enough. I think it depends what the market's going to want to pay him. Obviously, he does have some off-the-court issues, but him, along with Gary Trent Jr., both made themselves a lot of money this year playing with the Bucks. I think, personally, I'd rather see us keep Kevin Porter Jr. than Gary Trent Jr., just because I think he's been a little bit more consistent, and I think we need that one a little bit more. I've seen this Bucks team filter through, a lot of guards and a lot of wingers, and I just wanted us to have a good point guard. We had Drew, had Dame, man. Kevin Porter Jr. provides us a little bit more of that ball handling, that spark, that fast step, someone that can get out and throw Giannis an alley-oop. We really haven't had that. Even when we had Drew, he wasn't that bursty, quick, twitchy type of point guard. And I just really love seeing Kevin Porter Jr. in a Bucks uniform. It's a momentum guy. He plays well in transition with Giannis. The guys seem to love him. And, maybe Milwaukee has helped turn his life around because his career could have been over by age 22, 23. So I really want to see Kevin Porter Jr. come back. It's going to be up to the market on Bobby Portis. If we're not spending that money elsewhere, it makes sense for us to spend it on him because of those bird rights. And then Brook Lopez is a free agent. Again, market on Brook Lopez is going to determine what we offer him. If someone's offering him more than $7-8 million, I think he's got to be out the door. I love him as a regular season player. He's an Iron Man. You guys have heard me talk so highly about Brook Lopez. But when it comes down to matchups in the playoffs, he will be played off the court time and time again. It'll happen next year. When you get into that playoff situation and it comes down to it, and there's one big, slow guy, and every possession matters, every team is going to do what the Pacers did. They're going to run a switch, they're going to get a guard on Brook, and they're going to blow by him. And if we have any coach other than Doc Rivers, Brook's going to come off right away. He's going to get played off the court like he should have been played off after 5 minutes of game one. So I would love to see Brook stick around, but he is not the center for the future. I would love to see Sims get re-signed. So I think Kevin Porter Jr. and Jericho Sims are two of my strongholds that I really, really, really want to see in a Bucks uniform next year. And then I'm going to trust John Horst. Because at the end of the day, this is a Giannis and Friends lineup. It really is. I think the narrative's going to be written for him to be able to win an MVP next year. He's not going to have studs around him. Dame is going to be on a bench. We've got $55+ million locked up into Dame next year, and then almost $60 million on his player option the following year. So we don't have a ton of flexibility to go get even an all-star. We just don't. So I'm going to trust John Horst. I don't know what the roster is going to look like, but I do want Kevin Porter Jr. I do want AJ Green. I want a young coach. Doc has to go. That's got to be it, man. I talked about, I mentioned this quote for the Brewers earlier. You don't have enough talent to win on talent alone. Now, I do think the Bucks had the talent to win, but that quote speaks to play style. It speaks to coaching. When Herb Brooks is saying that, he's saying, listen to me. You guys can't do this alone. You need to play together. You need to play as one unit. And even though the Bucks had that talent, they weren't playing as one unit. When Wisconsin sports teams have this one unit, we fall in love with that coaching process so fast because we acknowledge that we aren't going to be that LA market. This is why we fell in love with Pat Murphy last year. This is why it hurt to watch Craig Counsell go. Outside of just being the hometown guy, we recognize that he turned a lesser collective into a unit that outplayed its expectations in a sport that we were not set up to succeed on to that level. This is why the Packers, we love Matt LaFleur because we recognize that he makes the collective better than the sum of the parts. And this is why Doc needs to go. He didn't make he didn't make the collective better than the sum of the parts. So Doc needs to go. Get a young coach. I don't think we have any. We might have a second-round draft pick. Develop Tyler Smith. Give Kevin Porter Jr. the ball more. Let AJ Green shoot the heck out of it. And the Bucks are still going to be a playoff team. I don't think this is a big doomsday for the Bucks. I really don't. When you got Giannis out there, you got a chance. Look at the Grizzlies a couple years ago. They played fantastic when Ja Morant went down. They were not a deep team. They were not special at one particular thing. Like, they weren't the Pacers where they just ran really fast and had one really good system. But they played well as a unit, and they were the 2 seed going to the playoffs with missing Ja Morant all year long. You get a guy in a decent system, something to believe in, a team that's going to go out and compete every single night, with Giannis as the leader. He is the guy. There isn't a Dame there anymore. It might be frustrating for Giannis. He might be getting double, triple covered every single night when he's on the court. I don't think that's something that he's too unfamiliar with. And it's going to be Giannis' show. And if you go compete in an 82-game season, there's no reason that this Bucks team won't be a playoff team next year. I think we're going to run into issues in the playoffs because we're going to get exploited. I don't think a championship is in the cards for next year. We just don't have the talent. But, I think we can see a lot of growth. I think we can get excited about Sims and Porter and whoever we bring in, Andre Jackson, if Tyler Smith. If we start to develop a young guy, that would be awesome. That's a first. That would be really great. So I'd really love to see us do a little bit of development in 2026. And while this particular championship window is closed, I don't think we should be saying that Giannis's championship window is closed. He still has 6-7 years of really high quality basketball to play. We saw it when he came back from an injury this year. He started playing that point center role. That's not a high toll on your body type of position. He doesn't need to be this cutting bruiser type of player to be successful. He can post up, dish out, wait till he gets doubled, and find the open guy. His passing is going to keep him relevant in this league for a very long time. We take our medicine 2026, get that 2020, the 32 first, maybe use that as an asset somewhere. We have some pick swaps available. I really don't see a doomsday situation for the Bucks. I see us as a playoff team next year. That's about it. And then we'll see how Dame comes back, man. I think there's going to be even more questions going in next off season, but for now I'm trusting the process. Really tough way for this season to end. We wouldn't have been in that Game 5 if it wasn't for Gary Trent Jr., so I don't think it's fair for anyone to rip him too much for dropping that pass and losing the game for us in overtime, because he was really the one doing all the work in the first place. But moral of the story, Doc's got to go. If you got Giannis, you got a shot. Just a little bit of Packers information. Jaire Alexander, man, he's still on the team, dude. And I was kind of thinking about this the other day. I kind of love our secondary. If Jaire Alexander is on this team and he's healthy and he's caring about football, we got Ja, Evan Williams, Bullard, McKinney, Hobbs. That's kind of 5 studs, isn't it? I really love that Packers secondary. Big issue is going to be that defensive line. Jordan Morgan should be coming back. Bukowski on Lockdown Packers today just did an episode on the second-year players, and he was very high on Jordan Morgan, and I am too. Like, whether, get the first-round draft pick out of your head, whatever he turns into next year is going to be an asset for us. If he's fighting for the left tackle job and doesn't get it, he could be a really high-quality right guard. If he doesn't win that right guard job from Sean Ryan, he's going to be a really, really good rotational player. Like, maybe we just have 6 quality offensive linemen and just a really good rotating unit. I think that's all a win for this Packers team. I'm really excited. We got a lot of progress to make, man. Youngest team in the league for the past 2 years. So The ceiling is the roof. For the Packers, the Brewers are playing tonight at 6:40. Tobias Myers looking to knock a little bit of more rust off. He's still getting his wheels under him, so he's going to be on the mound. Wishing the best for Sal Frelick and Freddie, as I mentioned earlier. And I'm going to finish this brief piece of cheese with some Gouda. Shout out Scotty Scheffler, putting up a -31 this past weekend, tied a PGA record. So seeing him is a total of 253 at his hometown event outside of Dallas, where he made his PGA Tour debut 11 years ago. Scotty putting up a -31 is just absolutely absurd. NBA playoffs are still going on. I'm really excited for this OKC Denver series. I'm a big Jamal Murray fan, and he's got some gnarly perimeter defense to be dealing with. So that's going to be a really, really exciting series for me. I'll be tuning in. Brewers Astros series starts tonight. I think that's all I got. I'm not going to really go through the cheese grater questions with myself because that would be weird. So we'll see you next time on A Little Bit of Cheese.